There we are. It's been a couple of days. Let me see how this thing's doing. Welcome, everybody. That's working okay. How is everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. Good. All right, so welcome back to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson. I'll give it a few minutes and let you guys populate in here. There's Chris. Let's see who else we have in here. I see somebody, and I know that's Chris. It is Chris. I don't know if anyone else is going to follow you, my friend. We're just gonna chill out a little bit, go over the trip a little bit. I'll show you guys a couple of the videos I took. I haven't shared anything publicly yet for myself, for our team, and so I thought I'd share a video or two here during this live stream. We had a hell of a time with Blue Mountain Paranormal. What the hell is that? 111 on the clock. Awesome. So if you're into synchronicities, 111, pay attention to what you're doing, what you're thinking, and what you're saying right now. Let's see who we have with us. We have Nikki and we have Chris. How are we, my friends? As far as our conversation earlier, Chris, I was multitasking, so no, I did not have time to stop and talk to you. I just got off the phone again, actually. So I took the day off yesterday. I turned my phone off. I couldn't stay awake after we got home. And so I decided to recuperate, let the algorithm here reset a little more, and pick it back up today at the beginning of the week. How was your weekend, everybody? Good. Yes, we had fun. And so we arrived at our hotel, as you guys saw. I put a post here that almost nobody saw, so I apologize. That was us getting to the hotel at 10 o'clock. So we got settled in, and within 15 minutes, I was in the car on my way to meet Matt and Robert at a residence. And so we did that, and we spent quite a few hours together. Obviously, I didn't leave there till 5 in the morning. I want to say that was somewhere near Hagerstown. I'm probably not saying it right. Whatever Matt and friends were. And so we got to meet each other and got to sit down, get a little bit of background information, etc. All right, I got back to the hotel around 6:30 a.m. Somehow driving through Pennsylvania morning rush hour traffic. That was interesting because you guys have those hills and then whoop, and then a hill and then whoop. Then you have these little, there's a turn sign, but there's a turn sign. And so it was an interesting morning, but I made it. We got about 3-4 hours sleep. We were up and out by 11 for the hotel. And that was it. We headed our way to Walnut Hill Manor. So we want to thank the owners once again, I do and my wife, on behalf of Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. It was quite the spectacular house. Walnut Hill Manor is museum quality, tip top shape. Like you couldn't tell it was built when it was built. I mean, it literally looks like it's a fairly new structure. It was phenomenal. I was afraid to touch anything. So those owners do an impeccable job of that place. So, anyways, there was a gentleman who reached out to me on Messenger. I forget your name, my friend, but here is the scheduled events that Blue Mountain Paranormal has for this year. Now, this coming Saturday, the 7th, the Briar Cliff investigation that I'll be joining them on as part of Paranormal Witchcraft and possibly another member. I'm not sure yet. It will be rescheduled. It was scheduled for this Saturday, the 7th. All right. They have to reschedule it. That happens quite a bit. Okay. Not a big deal. Just means that I get a little bit more time to recuperate, and that's fine for me. And so the next one we have will be Friday, March 27th at 5 p.m. That's another Ghost and Grub. Okay. It's a taste of Greece. All right. There's one Friday, April 17th. Okay. That one is Tell Tales. All right. And so that one will be at 4 a.m. There's another one Friday, May 2nd at 1 p.m. for them. Cryptids Chronicles. That's where I will be playing the part of a vampire. Uh, that's why the hair is already dyed. All right. And this way, all I have to do is keep the dye job up. And this is the first part of my costume. I'm going to be looking for contacts, you name it. So that'll be a fun thing Friday, May 1st at 1 p.m. All right. And that will be in Pennsylvania. Friday, May 8th, we have a Naughty Glow investigation, Naughty Glow Theater. That one starts at 9 a.m. All right. There's another one here for Sunday, June 17th at 6 p.m. That one will be at the Gill House. All right. And that is the Gill House Paranormal page as well. So if you want further details, remember Matt Hornick is their lead investigator. All right. We are just kind of collaborating together. And if it's anything like the other night, we played poker and all kinds of stuff. I'll show you guys a video real quick before we get into a little bit of the scripting that I did have for us. I'll show you guys the outside of the house here. So this is Walnut Hill Manor. There's another close-up. That's me standing at the edge. Let's find you guys a video. I will play that. There it is. All right.
40 hands with the Old English, then I would drink Mad Dog.
Yeah.
It's not the name of the brand. It's something else, but everyone just called it Mad Dog because that's.
There's Matt.
Yeah.
There's Matt again. So say hi to Matt, everybody. Make sure to go over to their page, Blue Mountain Paranormal. Give them a like. There's Robert in the background, Ashley, and Lady Fonda's arms right there at the end. Okay, and so that was right after we had just settled in. That was about 8:30 or so. We were a little late getting started. That happens quite often when you're doing events. All right. A lot of times you're still conversing with the owners, whatnot, especially if you're friends like Matt is to them. They were a very professional, uh, very fun loving couple, actually. So they were very cool. I want to give them both a shout out as well for having us in their home. It was a phenomenal hunt. And for the record, that EVP was not touching another device. Okay. Just looked like it really close. But, anyways, I'll show you guys another video at the end of this here. Who do we have with us? We have Nikki, we have Chris, and can anybody tell me who that third person is in the crowd? Let's get into a little bit of the containment or the containment over chaos protocol. It's going to be a shorter one today, so that way we can focus on Blue Mountain Paranormal witchcrafts, and talk some more about the hunt. It was really a good time. We ended up going down around 11:30. They actually managed to stay up a couple hours behind me and Fonda. They left the SLS up on the stairwell, which is where we had one of the residents on the stairwell there. I got to go up with one of the thermal guns behind her, and you could actually see the temperature change on the thermometer gun. It was really cool. If I concentrated hard enough, I could just make out the aura around her. So it was really cool. All right. So this morning we're going to continue talking about educating people on a different way of investigation. One of our taglines that we've been asking is, do you want credible investigations or do you want escalated ones? Do you want to hunt with instability where you're going to be ego bashing the teams next to you, or do you want credible, viable investigations that are free of drama? Okay. Now, if you've answered yes, you would like validated ones, then you're in the right spot. If not, please take a hard left out of the channel. All right, let's get started. Today, we're not talking about spirits. we're talking about something far more predictable. Why do paranormal groups implode after they grow? And I'll use paranormal witchcraft this afternoon as a good example because we had to pull ourselves back together. And this is an example of something we've experienced ourselves. So today we're not talking about spirits. We're talking about paranormal group instability versus paranormal group stability with your teams. There's a reason why most teams don't make it. All right. This is what we think might be the problem. Why do paranormal groups implode after they grow? Well, type stable in the comments below if you've been to an investigation where there was no immediate escalation, immediate instability noticed. Type drama down below in the comments if you've seen an immediate collapse where one person started doing this and the whole room changed. All right. So stable if you've only hunted stably and responsibly, or a spike if you notice somebody on some bullshit. Okay. Stable, very good. 1111, that's a good time. That means you're right on the path you need to be, Chris. And I'll explain to you a little more later. That's a normal feeling that you're having. So when a group grows, adrenaline rises, okay, because you have more than one person you're working with. So it's not only that you're excited, Chris, or that I'm excited, Chris, it's that Sandy and Holly and everyone else of our group is excited. All those emotions get turned up. That's a form of escalation. But at that moment, there's no problems. All right, so bear with me here. So when we first started in May into June or July, this is what happened to paranormal witchcraft. Okay. We caught it in time. All right, but we did have some of the infighting happen. We did have some of the adrenaline come in. We did have some of the egos, all right, disagreeing with each other, etc., etc. And then I noted we were what? Unstable or unstable. And so we pulled back for a month and then we revisited. And ever since, we've been pulling ourselves back towards stability or stability. And so it can be done. Just because you see something you're building falling apart doesn't mean to let it go. All right. Sometimes, if you can use some tact and pull your ego back, you can save it. And so for us, we got very lucky. And this is a very good example to talk about here today. So, and it's just human nature. We start paying more attention to something. We start getting a little validation in these teams that we're forming. We start having more new members, all right? Different minds, different beliefs, different thoughts, different emotions, different astrological signs is probably an important one to start with as well. And more projection, okay? Does that make sense so far? If it does, type in the comments below yes. If it does not, type in the comments below no, it does not to you. Now remember, we are not here to challenge anyone's paradigm. We are not here to change the world. All right. We are just here to bring up some very difficult questions and talk about them. Growth always amplifies instability if structure isn't in place first. Did your structure grow as fast as your numbers? For us, yes, it did. So I'm going to type below yes. If your numbers grew faster than you could control the situation and you had a little bit of instability, now don't be shy now. If you did, type yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. I think it's a fairly common thing that happens to all of us. Think about it. You have more than yourself in the room now. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 or more minds all thinking about the same thing. You all have desires. You all have dreams. You all have inspirations. You all have thoughts. Back that up with your beliefs and how you were raised. And you can start seeing how, as the energy rises in the room, you have to crack a window, let some of that pressure out. Okay. And that's not a bad thing that you disagree with people, Chris. It's not a bad thing that, like me and you, may not agree on something sometimes, and that happens. What we're seeing on social media is just, all right. And that's not what you want to do. You want to pull yourself down, pause, restabilize, and everything's good as new. We have to understand that the person we're talking to and the person we're communicating with may not be coming from the same exact place we are internally. And that's where, as the energy rises and the steam and the smoke of your journey starts catching traction, you might have other people's egos thinking about different things. So be careful. What we do is we try to talk very bluntly, very transparently. We ask each other if we're okay every day. We keep a very human, all right, very realistic way of going about it. Thank you, my friends. So, we had a lot of fights in that room, all right, and it's taken us this long to make amends and straighten things out, all right. And so remember, these are things your public doesn't need to be seeing, all right. This is something your public doesn't necessarily need to be aware of either, okay. And a lot of times, this is why we're bringing this up. You'll see paranormal groups form, and then within a year or two, or a major event, they'll disband, all right. And so this is a little bit of what we think might be happening, and so hopefully we can help some others out there. Tracy Stunt, how are you? So, if your structure grew as fast as you did, you might have had some attention problems, you might have had some personality problems, and you might have had some egos being projected. That's all normal. But when identity attaches to leadership, the group becomes fragile. All right. So that's why I try to make a point over there that I let every other team member know that they are a business owner and their business is important to us under paranormal witchcraft title. So whatever they do is just as important what I do or Fonda does, because we are all a team. And somewhere in the past few months we had to remind ourselves of that, etc. All right. So don't feel like you're the only ones out there experiencing these type of growth pains. When identity attaches itself to leadership, the growth becomes fragile. If disagreement starts to feel threatening, then collapse will begin. Okay. Have you ever watched a group split over something trivial or something small? Type yes in the comments below if you have. Type no in the comments below if you have not. While you're doing that, I'll explain the t-shirt that you guys are no doubt staring at. And what this is this is the Theban language. All right, this is not runic. This says Brotherhood of Male Witches. Okay, that's what it says. This is my home group, Brotherhood of Male Witches. If you have not discerned by now, I am a solitary eclectic witch. All right, I just happen to have an affinity and a huge adoration for paranormal and everything we don't understand in the world, including spirituality, Gnosticism, metaphysical, occultism, demonology, and the list goes on and on. All right. So, if it feels like that, have you ever watched a group split over something small? You're good. Yes. All right. And I have too. All right. I'll give you an example. There's a friend of mine who set up a really, really large event a couple years ago, worked his ass off for an entire year, grew it into something that was huge, pulled off a phenomenal event. And now the stress, right? And all the escalation and all that projection from the community over there in social burnt the poor guy out. Okay. And so it happens more than we think. But we need to start being kinder to other paranormal investigators around us, right? And pay attention, reach out if you think they need some help, all right? Not just tear them down, because for all we know, they're having projection from other teams or entities, coming after them for difference of opinions, difference of processes, etc. All right, and for all of us, that should not be allowed. There should be a common air of respect, and sometimes there just isn't. But when you watch that happen, it's no doubt an instance where there was a lack of documented standards. If you notice during what we'll share later, we stopped every time the bell rings, etc. We didn't aggravate. We gave the spiritual realm time to answer or show the pattern. And I'll show you guys that video later. It no doubt fell apart over no emotional regulation, and it no doubt fell apart for not having a clear mission. That's why this is structured. Okay, has to be structured because structured is what keeps things in line. Structure is what keeps responsibility, and structure is what saves lives. Okay, just because it's cool to go after the spiritual realm and get some really nice even creepy, macabre data, doesn't mean you have to throw people under the bus to do that. Okay. Most paranormal groups that do collapse aren't paranormal, they're structural. If your group can't handle simple disagreements between each member, then growth will more doubtably destroy you guys. All right. And if you look back at our personal example, around July, we had a lot of issues going on that I didn't stop and think all the way through back in May in our inception. Okay. And so our collapse happened rather quickly. All right. We had a period of large growth. And then within a matter of 6 weeks, we are on our side and I had to pick us back up. And so, you know, that was us not being able to handle disagreement, and it very clearly showed that our growth almost destroyed us. Okay. How do you prevent collapse going forward? Well, I'll give you a little hint here. That happens more often than not. Now, I did meet a pair of mediums, but I'm not going to give names. All right. And so that was interesting for me. Now, I've worked with a medium before, Mr. Rick Wade, which maybe one day he might tune into one of these live streams on YouTube, but he's mostly known for pushing himself on socials. But he is a medium. All right. And the difference between a medium is, well, I can sense there's something in the room with us. All right. But I necessarily can't communicate them directly like mediums can. All right. And that is one of the main differences between clairsentience, me being psychic, and somebody like Rick Wade, who is a medium. Okay. So the last tagline I said a few minutes ago was, see if you guys are paying attention, bear with us here. How do we prevent collapse, Tobias? What I have typed here is we have to make sure that we have clear behavioral and mental standards. What does that mean? All right, that means we have to moderate our emotions. We have to moderate ourselves into more responsible, all right, and credible investigation techniques. Immediately, you should stop if you're having these problems like we did, pull back, withdraw from the social limelight, all right? Because one, if you're showing this and you're commenting and you're posting, people are going to pick up on it. They're going to pick up on that energy, and your growth is going to go stagnant anyways. That's why I try to make sure everything we do in here is positive, 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 because the algorithm is looking for positive growth, not toxic name calling or etc. Okay. And so I have given my vow of responsibility to the platform as a partner. And so, anyways, we want to make it ego neutral. All right. And so that's why I ask so many questions every morning. How are we, everybody? Does anyone have anything going on? And if there's no answer, all right, then I know no news is good news. Okay. But I always ask opinions, especially if there's something I'm working on. And that includes the rest of the team. And so that way they feel like they're part of the team. Even if they can't go with us on hunts right now, we're on a 5-year plan. And my goal is to make sure that any team members at Paranormal Witchcraft who want to join us on a hunt can, all right, within the next 5 years. If you scale emotion before structure, improvision, all right, if you scale emotion, before structure, the implosion is all but guaranteed for your paranormal podcast or your paranormal investigation team. Let me check my time here. Okay, we're still under 30 minutes. You don't lose groups because of outsiders. You lose them because internal structure wasn't ready for your growth yet. Stability before visibility, containment before growth or expansion. Paranormal witchcraft is not here to spike. We are simply here to endure. Thank you, my friends. Now that we've gotten to the adulting part of the live stream, let's show you guys a couple of the things we carried home with us. And they're not spiritual. Besides the jet lag in slow motion, driving 1,100 hours and back, or 1,100 miles and back is, well, let's see. It was 720 there, so we've done that. That was probably 1440, and we probably drove another 300. So a very, very, very quick, and in 3 days, I'm actually surprised that I was able to keep the schedule we did. And we actually got back from Maryland in 13 hours somehow. So how we did it, we had a little divine intervention, we'll say it that way. But Lady Fonda got herself a mortal and pestle. Told her I would put that in here for us. All right. And then we have a couple more things. I have to change the battery in this thing that Matt gifted me. I'll show you guys that. And show you some books that Fonda ordered. This might be able to come up in Paranormal Witchcraft as one of the live streams. It is a book of grim fairy tales. All right. So every now and then you might see me break from paranormal, like I was telling Chris this morning. But if we're having an existential crisis over the crafting, all right, I'm not going to push it. All right. I'll make sure it's like tarot, because as far as I understand it, if you are religious in any way, you are allowed to look at spirituality as a form of your religion. Okay, so hopefully that soothes a little bit of minds. All right, so this is another cookbook she picked up for herself. This is the Witch's Cookbook, 50 wickedly delicious witchcraft inspired recipes, and the author is Fortuna Noor. Right, I've looked through it. Okay, has things like rocks, rune breakfast sandwiches, multi chakra tapas, love a vitality potion, toadstool toppers. You get the idea. All right, and so this was gifted to me by Sir Matt, the indomitable, the Matt the Indomitable Hornick is his new nickname, and so I got to f around with his SLS. I've never used one before. One, because I'm not so sure I'm willing to fork out the money for it, but it is something I've always wanted to f around with, and so it was nice when he had it set up. I got to watch how it works. I got to interact with it on the stairs. It was really, really cool. We went in the basement and did a session. It was really neat. All right, and so this is a Ouija board, and it does have some electronic components to it. You guys see that? Yes, you can. This one over here needs to be changed, but you can see it. Let me get something to put this on, and we will play with it. All right. I forgot to show you guys this. This is some royal lavender. Okay, and this is how you would traditionally dry it. And yes, if you're religious, you can do this stuff too. Just because witches do apothecary doesn't necessarily mean you cannot. Okay, if you'd like to think about it this way, go back to biblical times. Pretty sure in their houses they did the same thing. They probably didn't have rubber bands and paper clips, but I have no doubt back then, even they would dry their herbs for cooking. Okay, and so this is a very gorgeous variety of lavender. Oh, makes your nipples hard. Is so potent. Sorry if that's TMI for some of you, but um, oh, you just walked into this store and it was actually called, I believe, Lavender and Sage Metaphysical Shop. All right, so I want to give you a plug. All right, thank you once again. We did leave an offering, all right, in their Yule altar at Walnut Hill Manor. So again, thank you, my friends, for allowing us to experience your home for the evening. It was truly one of the best overnight B&Bs. Scratch that. It was the best overnight B&B haunt I've ever been to. Okay. And so hopefully that sends them a little bit of love. Okay. So let's hang this back up. All right. Put this thing in my lap. And we'll get a little planchette. Maybe. Maybe not. All right. Must be on the floor. I'm not going to do it then, I guess, because I'm not going to do it without a planchette because you guys won't be able to see anything. You can see that's not going to do any good. I could pretend I'm doing a seance, but I'm not touching anything. Okay? Never, ever touch one of these without knowing what you're doing. Please and thank you. Okay. If you don't know what this device is, besides the electricity installed in it, right, this is a divination device. This is a Ouija board. Okay. Very clearly, as you can tell, it's got the alphabet going across the top. Right. Numbers on either side, a yes and a no, and a goodbye. Goodbye is the most important thing you will need to know about a Ouija board, right? The most second important thing you need to know about a Ouija board is do not ever, no matter what TV or Hollywood says, ever use one as a game or a joke. Okay. So I'm sure YouTube would agree with that, even though this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. These are things you should never, ever use at home. Okay. Now, that being said, I can't wait to use this. But um, I wanted to show you guys that and say a huge thank you to Brother Matt Hornick for the gift, right? One of my favorite things we've taken home from the trip. So, that being said, my friends, we are going to keep it within 45 minutes. All right. I did stop by Buckland's Museum of Witchcraft and Magic again. Okay. And I did get a couple things. The other things I can't find, but this I can. All right. You have to remember, I got home yesterday at 1:30 in the morning and I didn't roll and do anything until this morning at, I think I got up at 8:30 and it was a struggle. So that was it tapped me out energetically, and that happens from time to time, especially with my professional schedule, 2 lives a day, etc. And so here we have a palmistry book, okay, and it gives us the map of our hands. Okay, I'm going to go over a couple, and when I find it, I will tell you. So the thumb, the will or the willpower is the top section of your thumb. Okay. This is represented by the top of the thumb. This is called a flanage. If it's long, it indicates action. If it's short, it represents somebody who's a dreamer and doesn't necessarily act on things sometimes. This is logic. All right, so let's turn the hand so you can see it. So this is your will. This is your logic. The next section is your logic. Your logic, this is associated with the second flange. If it's long, a wise, diligent, careful thinker. If it's short, you're a quick decision maker, but you have to watch out for making risky, all right, and spontaneous decisions. So that is the type I am. Okay. The heart line, right, goes from here. This is your heart line. So if it's high, you have no emotion. And if it's short, you're selfish. If there's a curve, right, you fall in love easy. Okay. So if it kind of looks like a wishbone, right, just kind of, all right, that means you fall in love easy. If you have two lines, one above the other, disturbed lines or wavy, it often means you're dissatisfied in relationships. Mine intertwine. And so I've had a lot of relationships where I didn't stay happy. Right? So there you go. What else do we got? Got the lifeline that encircles your thumb. Most of the times it's right here and it'll come all the way down. Now, if it's arc shaped, meaning long, great passion for life, you might have a temper, or narrow with a curve, indicative of stance, softer, less passionate, more even temper, a thinker, a dreamer. Okay. If it has another point over here, to the left means you're attached to home. If it's mid, you have a good balance of home, life, career, and travel. If there's breaks, okay, if there's breaks in your lifeline, that may point to a need to change current outlook of life. All right. If your lifeline is short, it may indicate limited vitality, which means you would pass earlier than normal. So those are three of the most important lines that people like to look at when it comes to palmistry. I don't know enough about palmistry to talk beyond the basics of it, but I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. So, with that being said, I'm going to pull a couple tarot cards for you guys as the title suggested, and then we will get the heck out of here, okay? We'll pull up another video quick. All right. Yep. Apparently that's all I got. Where's the bigger one? There it is.
Joker.
And you see, so as you see, well dressed. There's Matt. Just going around the room, I think, taking some video of the layout. Look at that place. Just absolutely gorgeous. That is museum quality, and they live there. Absolutely phenomenal. You got to give the owners of this house like 5 stars up. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous place. I couldn't get over it. And everywhere you walked, I mean, this was the entryway, and that's looking to your left. You'd walk in through the foyer and be like, wow. And then the other side, you just saw the other side. So it was gorgeous, gorgeous house. I don't know if I can find the one where we were downstairs. Nope, I don't think so. That's disappointing because that's the one I wanted to share with you guys. See what else I got here. No, that's not touching. It just looks like it. See, I think the bell goes off a couple times. So watch the bell. That's that's Robert. There's the bell. Nobody's touching it, as you can see. You hear Matt asking it a question. So very cool. So yes, we did capture some stuff. I did anyways. Now Matt has to go through the majority of it. He left the SLS pointed up at the stairwell. All right, and there was a young lady around the table there, and another man who were mediums. Okay, and they tapped me, and they said they experienced somebody on the stairs, and so I got up right after that, and that's when we did our little mini investigation on the stairs. So I have a feeling that is on his devices. So I'm sure Blue Mountain Paranormal will be sharing their footages by week's end. Okay, so be patient with them. They do have normal jobs. Okay, so let's throw some cards down here. Yes, I have little hands, but they are mighty little hands. So, what did you guys do over the weekend? Did you guys do anything good? Did you guys enjoy the weather? Did you guys have bad weather? Is there anybody in here who would like this tarot reading to be for them? Otherwise, this will be just a general reading for today. All right. I don't know what today is. March 1st, March 2nd. I suppose that'd be an important thing to know, huh? Oh, today is March 2nd. So I missed the full moon. That probably explains why I slept. I needed a huge recharge from the full moon. Bad weather cold. The K2 meter too. Um, I forgot to pay attention, but that thing was going off repeatedly. Not every single time, Chris, but it was going off in unison for the most part. Is that what you were referring to? The little K2 meter laying on its side? All right. Nonetheless, Briar Cliff is supposed to be our next one. It's supposed to be this Saturday. There's been, I'm not going to say technical difficulties, but they'll be rescheduling, which is fine. We got all year, guys. I'm not in a hurry to be like getting out of the house every week. I know some people want to go balls to the walls like that. And I would have if it was still scheduled, but just know that there's a reason like one a month, one every other month. You gotta give people time to plan, gotta give people time to get the money and the resources, etc. There's a lot of under the scenes, behind the scenes work going on. So it doesn't bother me one bit. I was excited, but I'm still excited. And so it was an honor to meet Rob, Ashley, and and Matt McGann. So let's throw some tarot. Ah, that very well could be. That would explain why occasionally, but it's also not my data to talk about. Opinions may vary is the best answer we can give there. Right? But I thought it was a pretty cool informal meetup, icebreaker uh, hunt. Now the more serious stuff, I'm sure, will come as the year goes on. But as far as like perfect icebreaker, meetup hunt. That was awesome. So we had a really good time. I don't know how to play Texas Hold'em at all, and so I lost. I think like 10 or 12 rounds repeatedly. Just it was just because I couldn't pay attention. I was trying to uh, get in with Matt because there was conversation going around the table, and then it was my turn, so I'd have to stop thinking and think there. And so it was still fun though, but it made me realize just because I know what five card five card stud is, it's wildly different from Texas Hold'em. I've never played Texas Hold'em before. I didn't know what a call was or a stand. I know what a bet is. That's fairly easy, but everything else I had no idea. Let the cards choose. Got it. I pulled three. We have the Two of Wands. We have the Devil. And we have the Hierophant. Now, this is the Garbage Pail Kids deck. Right? And so this is, let's see who this is, this Two of Wands. What they do is they will name them after a Garbage Pail Kid. If you don't know what Garbage Pail Kids are, they are playing cards that we used to trade back and forth like baseball cards when we were kids, and they're gross and they're disgusting and they're supposed to be, just kind of fun. So the Two of Wands is Oliver Twisted. You'll soon be embarking on a new creative adventure, but are currently in the planning stage. Like Oliver Twisted, you have a few kinks to work out before you can make the most efficient progress. Make sure all of your ducks and all of your vertebrae are in a row before taking your first steps. Through great preparation now, this will set you up for success. Thank you. Next, I should probably show you the card up. Next, you have the Devil Energy. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Where are you? There he is. The Devil, also known in the Garbage Pail deck as Cranky, Frankie, and Hot Scott. Right, there's a couple different versions. Pretty cool. Upright position, the devil represents temptation for you and excess, so use caution. This card suggests you're too caught up in instant gratification and maybe not concerned enough with its consequences. Be careful not to act impulsively. And I'll just say, especially right now through the retrograde, it'll be another 18 days or so before we can do that. All right. So this card suggests we've got to be careful, watch out for the instant gratification. Please don't be too concerned enough, or don't not be concerned enough about its consequences if you're looking for instant gratification. So use caution not to act impulsively. Don't take any unnecessary risks right now. Don't let temptation get the better of you. Remember, we're human. It's going to try. You may just find yourself caught in the fiery clutches, the fiery clutches of Cranky Frankie and Hot Scott. And Hot Scott looks like he's just really wanting to do some more damage. So that's probably a red flag for somebody. We move into the end of the read, which is the Hierophant energy. That is Major Arcana number 5. Brainy Janie. All right. Got some knowledge under you. Awesome. Upright position. This Hierophant is a wise authority figure who values tradition and learning. almost as much as big-headed brainy Janie. This card is a reminder to listen to the teachers and authority figures in your life. Learn everything you can from them so you can become the smarty pants that you are destined to be. Awesome. Let me shuffle these so we can use them tonight for the 10 o'clock live stream. I don't really have a title for that one yet. Still kind of taking it very easy today, letting myself take the rest of the week now that I know the event has to be rescheduled to get my energy back, which makes it a lot easier for me. All right. No rest for the wicked, though. All right. And so I'm just going to kick back today and use this flowing hippie gypsy energy and let my energy gather itself slowly versus trying to perform when I'm not 100% with energy. And so that being said, thank you, my friends. Sorry for the delay in lives. And for that, I have a medical condition that causes that. We don't know what it is yet. I think it's pancreas or gallbladder related. That's all I know. So to me, it feels like trapped air. And for no reason, it just needs to come up. Which is weird because it only does it when I'm talking sometimes. As you see, I haven't drank anything. Could be a COPD thing. These are really stuffed cards. Hold on a minute. They're not wanting to fall in line here. There we go. Carpal tunnel gets the better of me sometimes, especially when stocking shelves for 30 years takes a hell of a lot out of you. And your wrist capacity goes out the window. Your dexterity goes out the window. Drop a handful of cards on your audience, kidding, it happens. But they're really stiff decks, and so I'm going to mix these bad boys in there, shuffle it again one more time. But the weekend was good. The weather was phenomenal in Pennsylvania. It was 60 degrees, and when we got back here, it was 23 degrees. So we drove across 4 states and lost 10 degrees per state. But we got home in one shot, and I was sure that Bambi was going to come out and ruin the one shot since a couple months ago it did, but it did not. So we completed our journey home in one full foul swoop, and that was nice. So, my friends, hopefully you enjoyed the mini reading there. Hot Scott, you like that? Yeah. I don't remember how many versions of Garbage Pail Kids there were, but I know they came out with Topps baseball cards. Back then, Magic cards were starting to come out. And I want to say there was volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe there's still a newer volume of Garbage Pail Kids even today, if we look, and if not today, within the last 10 years. So it did hold for a couple decades there. I'll be 50, so you figure it lasted about 25 years. It's really cool. Really cool deck, and it's just one of those novelty things you pick up. So thank you, my friends, for tuning in. I am Tobias Josephson. Have yourselves a great day, and we will see you tonight at 10 p.m. All right, and I'll probably be wearing a different outfit. Maybe we'll see. And right now I'm gonna go eat lunch and work on the title of that live stream. So have yourselves a beautiful evening. I love every one of you. And Chris, have no fear about your existential crisis. I'm sure everything will be okay. I'll catch you all at 10 o'clock tonight. Blessings and blessed be. And we are Paranormal Witchcraft. Whoops. Didn't do that right, did I? Well, been so long that I can't remember how to do this now. Oh, duh. End stream. All right, we'll see you guys later. You can tell I'm still tired. So we'll talk to you guys tonight.